Okay, guys, I'm going to attempt to film this video. I've been getting phone calls nonstop. Hopefully, everything will smooth out here for a minute. Let me film this. Um, got some multiple issues going on in multiple directions at the moment, so we'll see. I'm going to try to do Ezekiel, the book of Ezekiel now, since we're done with Isaiah. And I've never really jumped the next day into a new book. But I'm going to film this. I'm going to see where the Lord leads. If you're watching it, as the Lord said, it was He led to go ahead. If you're not, if you don't see this, then yeah, it went another direction. But I'm at least going to film this video and see where we go. Now, this is, you guys know, Ezekiel is like Isaiah and Jeremiah, big books, lots of information. I think that's one of the reasons why we're doing these bigger books, is because of the amount of information referring to the end times. So we're going to get into this and see what this has to say, and just go from here and let the Lord lead on all this. Ezekiel 1, Ezekiel's vision of God. Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, on the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river Chebar, that the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. On the 5th day of the month, which was in the 5th year of King Jehoiachin's captivity. You notice whenever we read these things from these guys in the Old Testament, they're very specific and direct about what they're seeing, about what's going on. There's no doubt, there's no question, there's no hem-hawing around. They are very, very adamant about what's going on here. It lends a lot more credence to what they're saying. The word of the Lord, verse 3, came expressly to Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chebar. And the hand of the Lord was upon him there. Then I looked, and behold, a whirlwind was coming out of the north, a great cloud with raging fire engulfing itself. And brightness was all around it, and radiating out of its midst, like the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Also from within it came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Each one had 4 faces, and each one had 4 wings. Their legs were straight, and the soles of their feet were like the soles of calves' feet. They sparkled like the color of burnished bronze. The hands of a man were under their wings, on their 4 sides, and each of the 4 had faces and wings. Their wings touched one another. The creatures did not turn when they went, but each one went straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, each had the face of a man. Each of the 4 had the face of a lion on the right side, and each of the 4 had a face of an ox on the left side, and each of the 4 had the face of an eagle. Thus were their faces, their wings stretched upward. 2 wings of each one touched one another, and 2 covered their bodies. Now, a lot of people have taken this description and said it's talking about attack helicopters. And it could be. But I think there's more going on here than that, and we're going to dig into that as we go. Verse 12, each one went straight forward. They went wherever the Spirit wanted to go, and they did not turn when they went. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, like the appearance of torches going back and forth among the living creatures. The fire was bright, and out of the fire went lightning. And the living creatures ran back and forth in appearance like a flashing of lightning, a flash of lightning. Now as I looked at the living creatures, behold, a wheel was on the earth beside each living creature with its 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their workings was like the color of beryl, and all 4 had the same likeness. The appearance of their workings was, as it were, a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When they moved, they went forward any one of 4 directions. They did not turn aside when they went. As for their rims, they were so high they were awesome, and their rims were full of eyes, all around the 4 of them. When the living creatures went, the wheels went beside them, and when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. And a lot of people will say this is talking about UFOs. Whenever they want a spirit, wherever the Spirit wanted to go, they went, because there the Spirit went, and the wheels were lifted together with them, for the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. When those went, they went. These went. When those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up together with them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. The likeness of the firmament above the heads of the living creatures was like the color of an awesome crystal, stretched out over their heads. And under the firmament their wings spread out straight, one toward another. Each one had two which covered one side, and each one had two which covered the other side of the body. When they went, I heard the noise of their wings, like the noise of many waters, like the voice of the Almighty, like thunder, a tumult like the noise of an army. And when they stood still, they let down their wings. A voice came from above the firmament that was over their heads. Whenever they stood, they let down their wings. And above the firmament over their heads was the likeness of a throne, in appearance like a sapphire stone. On the likeness of the throne was a likeness with the appearance of a man high above it. Also, from the appearance of his waist and upward I saw as it were the color of amber, and the appearance of fire all around within it. And from the appearance of his waist and downward I saw as it were the appearance of fire with brightness all around. Like the appearance of a rainbow in a cloud on a rainy day, so was the appearance of the brightness all around it. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. Ezekiel sent to rebellious Israel. So when I saw it, I fell on my face, and I heard a voice of one speaking. So it's hard to tell exactly what this was. There's many descriptions to this. A lot of people say there was a singular main vehicle, and there were helicopters surrounding it. That's pretty typical of any kind of aerial craft, or it would be a helicopter escort. It could be UFOs. It could be the Ezekiel wheel picture that you see, where it's a wheel within a wheel. A lot of space station sci-fi movies draw that out, put it in space, Ezekiel's wheel, stuff like that. But a lot of people come to a lot of different conclusions. The one thing we know is that what he is seeing is so fantastic, he can only describe it in what he knows. Now, we can trace that back, and we can, track that, to what we have now and see what we would see, because obviously he's being shown something he doesn't recognize. But it's hard to perfectly identify exactly what that is. The one thing that I do know is this isn't something for the future. This is something he's seeing real time. A lot of people will say, well, this is a future vehicle coming. No, not necessarily. But this is a real time that he's witnessing this. And it so terrifies him, he's fallen down to his face. It's scaring him, because it's incredible. He'd never seen nothing like this before. Keep in mind, several thousand years ago, nobody had ever seen anything like these vehicles. Nothing. It was totally foreign. So he's describing it the best way he can. You hear aspects of a lot of stuff we have on the earth now. But the point is, this is basically an entourage following around, God approaching to speak to him. He mentions the whirlwind with the fire and everything. That's usually how God comes in on approach. It's a cloud, a whirlwind, a fiery whirlwind. So heavy amount of description here, and he really has grabbed Ezekiel's attention with his vision. And the next one, there's no title to the next one, to Ezekiel 2, but he starts talking to him right away. We'll get into that in the next video. But yeah, this if you want to do a study on this, you can look throughout the Bible and look for other references for these same things. And it might give you a deeper insight as to what he's witnessing here. But to me, it seems like this is the throne of God coming. And a heavenly host coming with it. Now, whether it's a craft or not, I don't know. But I know this vision is so fantastic that even we can't figure out what it is. I'm content with learning what it is later. Because I think even if we saw something like this in our day, it would probably terrify us too. So guys, that's Ezekiel 1. Like I said, we'll see where we go from here. I'm going to let the Lord lead on it. And we'll see where we end up. I think there's a lot more to find in here. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.